Respect the respec. Welcome back home. Hey, Bluecoin, how you doing? Anami, good to see you. What's going on, everybody? We're back. We're going to start this trial, and I am... Oh, my phone is over there. Hold on. All right, here we go again. Let's try that again. Yeah, so I am floored. My jaw is on the floor. I am all kinds of messed up. This game is fantastic. Lots going on. I feel that. Can't complain. Can't complain. School is killing me, but you know, that's all right. I have this. I have this to help me. Let's drink some water. And let's do it. Second November, Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. There's that old familiar feeling again. There's that glass of milk again. The crushing pressure of this historic courthouse. Actually, no. It's a little different today. There's an even more menacing tension in the air. There is a menacing tension in the air today, isn't there? I suppose. Yes, I think so. It can only be the result of the menacing appearance of the defendant. A little more courtesy, if you please. Oh my, I do apologize. However, you're certainly not mistaken that this trial is far from ordinary. Is this another closed court? What do you mean? I'm not privy to the details, however. I understand that no jury has been selected. Trial without a jury? Well, that's just like the trial of the professor 10 years ago. Closed court. I was right? Oh, damn. Good morning, my dear fellows. Mr. Sholmes, have you made note of my hair, Mr. Naruhodo? An outright victory for science, you must agree. To be perfectly honest, so much happened yesterday that, well, I completely forgot about your little hair problem. Huh. What to one man is a little hair problem, is to another a day of drinking dubious potion after dubious potion. You have no idea how much my stomach ails me this morning. Oh dear. How awful for you. I'm afraid you only have yourself to blame, Mr. Sholmes. And good morning to you, Mr. Reaper. I'm delighted to see you looking so full of vim. And I see London celebrated great detective is as active as ever. Oh, you exaggerate, my dear fellow, compared to my paltry engagements with a few trivial cases. The Reaper's overbearing presence is a far greater deterrent to the black roots of crime in our capital. And whilst I may not agree with your methods, there's at least one point in which I would readily commend you. What an honor. And that would be your eye for a good lawyer, sir. And Mr. Sholmes, after all, behind this lawyer there's a very great mind. My own. Oh, damn it, I thought he was gonna be nice to me. But instead, he's just here like... Oh my god, this dude. What are you trying to say? I wish only to say that you should be prepared for quite a trial, Mr. Reaper. Sorry to barge in. Gina! What's that on her arm? It's a mourning band, I suppose. Mother, shouldn't you be at the symposium? It's been postponed, so I have some free time. I decided to come along with the police inspector to see our country's up-and-coming student in action. I shall be very interested to see the fruits of your studies over the past year. Well, it's an honor to have you here. Let's hope there are some fruits to see. Well, there's one streaming, so... Otto. Oh, yes, Gina? Why'd you agree to this, eh? Why'd you take him on? This Reaper bloke. Everyone says it was him what killed the boss. I'm so sorry, Gina, but I just don't believe that. Well, if it weren't him, who was it? Who was it? I don't know that. Yet. I don't care who calls him what. The Reaper's just a name. He's just a person at the end of the day. And if it turns out it was him what killed the boss, then God help him. Fiery eyes indeed. Yes, the culprit deserves every ounce of your loathing. Eh? At least, that may be of some solace to the deceased. Please, Otto. Get whoever did this. The boss. Oh, Gina. I just want to hug this poor girl. I hate feeling this useless, but there's nothing I can do. So you've got to find who done this and make the wretch pay. Counsel for the defense and the defender. Court will be in session shortly. Make your way into the courtroom at once, please. So who tells those guys that court is in session? Like, they don't have a timepiece, I don't think. Maybe they do. Here we go. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. Lord Van Zieks. One who lost his treasured brother to a mass murderer. One who lost his treasured father in a foreign court of law. And one who lost the man who helped her escape destitution. All of that misfortune, all that pain, on course to collide headlong in the storm. It's time to shine a light on all these dark events. And whatever truth is revealed, we're going to have to look it straight in the eye. $9:20. Weird start time. Yep, closed court.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here to conduct the fair and just trial of the defendant, Baroque Van Zieks. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready to begin?
The defense is ready, my lord. The prosecution is more than ready. Oh, Kazuma-sama. I've been wishing to see you in court again for so long. It feels... It feels... You missed a lot, Blue. But I never pictured it happening like this. I never thought I'd be facing you behind the prosecution's bench.
So-called Reaper of the Bailey has been a scourge like no other, undermining Her Majesty's justice system. Today we must uncover the truth behind the scourge.
In other words, the trial is going to be a lot more far-reaching than Inspector Gregson's murder.
The truths revealed by these proceedings may have unpredictable repercussions through the judiciary. Accordingly, they are to be conducted as a closed trial, with no members of the public present, by Her Majesty's direct orders.
How will that work, my lord?
The burden of all arbitration and adjudication falls on my shoulders, my uniquely flip-floppy, wishy-washy shoulders.
I don't know about the only two Ace Attorney plot twist, but like, and this is case 4, Blue. This isn't even the last one.
Therefore, as you will see,
At least to my understanding, yes.
the juror's bench shall remain vacant today.
If no members of the public are present, might I ask who is currently occupying the gallery, my lord?
They are members of the judiciary, here to witness proceedings and ensure an equitable trial.
Members of the judiciary? Oh my, this is a very unusual trial today.
There is, of course, another
Yeah, no, I know you. I know you're just exaggerating.
There's, of course, another unprecedented aspect to these proceedings on which I must elaborate. The counsels for the prosecution and defense are both aliens of Great Britain.
I believe it takes an outsider to see the truth sometimes. And as I stand here in this courtroom now, I'm quite certain. This is the reason why I had to come to Britain. Asma? You got the boba? The boba, the babas! Yes! Yes!
Very well, let us commence the proceedings. Prosecutor Asogi, your opening statement, if you please.
Certainly, my lord. The incident took place on the 1st November at just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The location was a building of flats on Fresno Street, on the outskirts of the city. The victim's body was discovered there in an old single-room rental property.
Yes, Inspector Tobias Gregson, a name known very well indeed to this court. not least for his miraculous resolution of one of the country's grimmest cases 10 years ago.
Professor Case, how sure are you about the time of the incident? Several witnesses on the street outside heard the gunshot, and all have reported the same time. Yes, that's what Gina told us too. There were a number of witnesses. They're not going to make poor Gina testify, are they? They probably will. I have here a plan of the room. God, it feels so weird that I have to do so few British accents. The victim was found curled up in one corner. It's believed that he was shot from the front at point-blank range and died instantly.
How has the range been determined?
There were scorch marks around the entry wound. Such marks are caused by the gunpowder used to fire the bullet. But there were scorch marks on the candle too. Why would that have been? In other words, it only happens when the target is at point-blank range.
See, yes, thank you for the detailed explanation, Counsel.
I disagree. The murder weapon was found lying beside the victim. And have you
managed to ascertain the owner of this firearm?
No, my lord, not conclusively. Bravo, Kazuma-sama. We're not trying to use the gun as evidence when its provenance can't be proven. Oh, he's gonna use it. Furthermore, my lord, as I've explained, the revolver was fired at extremely close range. The bullet passed through the victim and struck the wall behind him. There's a candelabrum mounted on that wall, and the tip of one of the candles in it was found to have been blown off by the projectile. We noticed that too, didn't we? Yes, that's right.
Thank you for the thorough report, Counsel. The setting of the crime is clear to me. You will submit the plan of the crime scene as evidence, please.
As you wish, my lord.
Is this Fresno Street room Inspector Gregson's private abode?
No, my lord. The room is rented by a Mr. Hugh Boone. But there's precious little furniture inside, and is generally in a poor state of disrepair. So what on earth was Gregson even doing there? Presumably he was investigating some case or other. God, this sucks, because I gave them... In case 1 of this game, I freaking decided to give Kazuma and Ryu, like, almost identical voices. Presumably he was investigating some case or other. When a policeman was informed of the gunshot from the witnesses and rushed to the scene, he found only the deceased inspector and the accused standing alongside, holding the revolver. The attending officer arrested the accused on the spot.
So, the details of the case are clear.
In that case, the prosecution would like to call its first witness.
A name, please, Counsel.
Naturally, the accused himself. Oh, Lord Van Zieks? As a prosecutor, he believes in the oath of office he's taken and will be compelled to tell the truth.
Very well, let the defendant take the witness stand.
So, witness, state your name and occupation for the court.
Barack Van Zieks, Old Bailey prosecutor. I presume, Lord Van Zieks, that you heard Prosecutor Asogi's opening précis.
I did.
It is alleged that you were found at the scene of the crime, and that you were arrested by the arriving police officer. Can you confirm this?
Yes, my lord. Then I'm sure the court would like to hear you explain some things away. Namely, why were you there in the room on Fresno Street at the time in question? And what exactly took place?
I intend to explain away nothing. I will simply tell the truth. I must say, Lord Van Zieks, I never imagined this day would come. Or rather, I didn't want to imagine it would come. But since you became known as the Reaper, a part of me has been dreading it. Your formal testimony then, witness.
I was investigating Gregson, and my inquiries had led me to that address. When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside and I saw no one. A moment later, I heard the gunshot. I spun around and saw the revolver on the floor. Just as I picked up the firearm to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. Jesus, like, oh, Imagine you just walk into this trial after, like, the last thing you knew was case 4 of the last game, and then for some reason you showed up here, and was like, wait, Gregson's dead, Cosmo's still alive, Barack Van Zieks is on the stand as the defendant. So much is going on. That testimony was the whole truth? It was. So, you heard a shot being fired in a room with no living occupants, and moments later a corpse somehow appeared before your eyes. Is that it? You're right, you haven't explained anything. In fact, that would barely qualify as an excuse. I thought you were my mute apprentice. Yet it turns out you have a way with words. Prosecutor Asogi. That is a little mean, Paper Star. I mean, I knew you didn't like Gregson because of Case 5, but it's a little harsh. I'm kidding, you are entirely entitled to your opinion, and like, I get where you're coming from. I did enjoy Gregson.
It would appear to be a singular tale indeed.
Singular isn't the word. It's laughable. No, it's laughable. What's gotten to Cosmo? He's not behaving like himself at all. I bet you anything that this man has if he has descendants, they're gonna end up. I feel like the way this is setting up is the game is going to imply that the Von Karmas are the descendants of Prosecutor Asogi over here. How cold of you. Your words pierce my heart like an icicle.
Very well, then.
I'm surprised I haven't given anybody a Hades voice this entire time, actually, now that I think about it.
Counsel, you may begin your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
You were investigating the inspector. What on earth for? I'm not at liberty to say. Sorry? I'd identified a distinct possibility that Gregson was involved in a case I was investigating. Regrettably, though, he was killed before I could secure the proof I needed.
Is the court to understand, then, that on the day in question you followed the victim to the scene?
No, I was privy to his movements in advance. How? I stole into his office in the yard and consulted his diary. The address on Fresno Street was noted in the 5 p.m. entry. You illegally entered the man's office? In Japan, that alone would constitute a very serious offense.
As it does in Great Britain, I assure you. Is that not the case, Lord Van Zieks?
I was aware of the possible consequences. So, in summary, you were investigating the victim, and yet, you refused to tell the court why. I didn't realize British prosecutors enjoyed so much freedom to choose what to divulge under oath. Ugh, why did I ever think I could defend this man? Get on! Pull your big boy pants up, Ryu. Zip up your fly, because it's probably down after that one time in Case 1-1. Or Case 1 of the first game. When I first entered... Oh, right. You don't read the green text in the voice. Oh my god. You would think I would get that by now. This is what, the 9th case I've done. Had you ever been to the address before? No, never. I only learned of the place as a result of my investigations into Gregson's activities. There was no light inside when I entered, so it was all but impossible to make out anything. But at 5 p.m. the sun would have only just have gone down. It still would have been reasonably light outside. The room has a window, but it was boarded shut. Very little light found its way into the room from outside, so it was extremely murky inside. I wouldn't have noticed if the victim was already lying on the floor. There was no artificial light in the room, you say? You're quite sure? You're quite sure? I'm quite sure that the part of the room where the body was found was very dark. I have a feeling there was a small oil lamp burning on the desk, though I couldn't say for certain. No, I love your obsession with the window text. It's so funny to me. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. There's a small desk in the room just there. Yes, I remember, and there was an oil lamp on it, as well as the framed photograph. Yes, my incredible powers of memory that I have not really brought up since the first case. When I entered the room, I closed the door behind me to investigate, and started towards the desk to investigate. And what did you find? Nothing. I never actually reached the desk.
Hold it!
So, who fired the gun? I have no idea. I didn't see anybody else in the room. But you say it was very dark in there? Yes, that's right. All I can tell you is I didn't sense another's presence. Aha, then could it be that the gunshot actually originated from somewhere else? This is taking so long, and I'm not even like gonna. No, that's out of the question. Oh. Without doubt, the sound emanated from inside the room. I could smell the gunpowder. Ugh, this is going from bad to worse. And you say that's the point at which you noticed the revolver on the floor? Correct, and I foolishly picked it up. That was carelessness on my part.
Presumably then, the gunshot that you heard came from the firearm that you somewhat hastily took in your hands.
In point of fact, my lord, I believe it did not. What? The barrel of the revolver I picked up was cold, and there was no smell of spent powder. But then, where on earth is the gun that was fired? Whilst I would like to oblige you with an answer, I'm afraid I can't. I, too, would dearly like to know that. Just as I picked up the firearm to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. One day I will learn to not read the green text in the voices. Man, you say, one of the witnesses, I presume? That's right, one of the street merchants working on Fresno Street.
Who are these merchants?
A number of them had set up their stalls directly beneath the boarded window of the crime scene. A match seller, a newsmonger, and a peddler. They've all given statements saying that they heard the gunshot, and without thought of danger, they ran inside to see what happened. Yes, Gina told us about that yesterday, didn't she? They burst through the door with some force, it would seem. They did, and almost gave me a heart attack in the process. Which is supposed to be the Reaper. The first man to come in immediately noticed the revolver in my hand and fled. A policeman patrolling on Fresno Street heard the commotion and was able to arrest the accused shortly after the incident occurred. Anyway, the man's scream drew my attention in that direction.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that? In what way did the body appear? I honestly can't explain it, but it's the truth. As far as I was concerned, the body hadn't been there until that point, and then suddenly, there it was. Did you perhaps hear the sound of the victim falling to the ground just beforehand? At that moment, what I heard was the sound of the door flying open and the scream of the man who came inside first. Nothing more. I see. After the man fled, I examined the body, and I was stunned. I was stunned to find that it was Gregson.
Most curious circumstances indeed.
How the inspector was killed, or how his body seemed to appear out of nowhere, I have no idea.
Objection!
I don't remember he sounding like that in Japan. Maybe that is what he sounded like. Surely the court has heard enough. My lord, this cross-examination has clearly revealed that the accused, Barak Van Zieks, is lying on multiple fronts. Oh, he got objection music too? Damn. What is that supposed to mean?
Good gracious, Counsel. The defendant is lying, you say?
In his testimony just now, he claims that he failed to notice the victim's body because the room was dark. That's correct. No, that's impossible. As proven by this candelabrum. How does that prove anything? If you examine the tip of the long candle, you can see it has been blown off by a powerful impact. One would
assume that the projectile from the firearm passed through the victim and struck the candle.
The problem comes when you consider the other two candles, which are clearly of a different length. Oh, it's his theme song. That's so good. Damn, this game really does pull out all the stops, huh?
Yes, I can see that only the candle that appears to have been struck by the bullet is long.
We could reasonably expect someone to have lit all three candles together, which begs the question of why only one has ended up longer than the others. That must be because that particular candle was extinguished while when the others were still burning. Ah! That's right. When the candle was hit by the bullet, it obviously went out. But the other two candles would still have been burning, so the fact is, the victim's body would have been illuminated by the light still thrown by the candelabrum. And the accused claim that he couldn't see the body directly contradicts those facts. And now, to the next lie. There's more? But wait, there's more. The accused also claims to have never visited the scene of the crime before. That's the truth. In that almost empty room, the police discovered something very unusual. A board covered from top to bottom in police documents and newspaper cuttings. Yes, that's right, we saw it too. It goes without saying that the contents of the police documents cannot be divulged. However, they included a number of reports from various historical cases. The oldest of which was from 10 years ago. 10 years ago? This is starting to sound familiar. Oh lord. And there's a common thread linking all of the documents on that board.
Indeed, what is this common thread, Counsel?
They all relate to cases prosecuted in court by Barak Van Zieks. All of them? And furthermore, all those cases are the ones in which the defendant was acquitted.
Good lord.
Interestingly, none of those defendants are alive today, because all of them have been sent to their graves by the Reaper. Ah! Oh no. In short, that dingy little room is the Reaper's secret hideout and his base of operations. But the Reaper's hideout? And yet the Reaper would claim to have never to have been to his own secret hideout? No one would believe that. No, the truth is, we've been looking at this backwards. I don't think this is a line of inquiry that is anything more than circumstantial. Yeah, Gina would very much disagree. Maybe he wasn't on the board. Same with Mr. Natsume.
Backwards. Explain, Counsel.
Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. What? Like, this doesn't feel like the only logical conclusion to draw.
Order, order, order. Very well, I hereby state the current opinion of the court. Barak Van Zieks is an outstanding prosecutor who has rendered great service to his country. However, it is with deep regret that I must concur with Prosecutor Sergei's contention that the defendant's testimony exhibits a number of stark inconsistencies with the known facts. All I have done is state the truth as I know it. That's most a brilliant job as ever. He's drawing on his experience as a defense attorney to build his prosecution case, and it's formidable. Counsel, you will submit the board that you just showed the court as evidence. I believe it to be fundamental in establishing the facts surrounding the Reaper's existence. Thank you, my lord. And now, the prosecution would like to call new witnesses to the stand. Witnesses who saw events unfold on the day in question. Yes, Flarger? They were mentioned in the previous testimony too, if you remember. Yes, the street sellers. Yeah. I heard it. Yeah, it was good. It was really, really good. Yes, the street sellers who heard the gunshot went running into the room. Very well, lead the witnesses in. The defendant may step down from the witness stand.
Certainly, my lord. Red Riding Hood, what the fuck? And Beppo! Oh my, you gotta be kidding. Beppo? So, witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Names? We don't use names. Sawtooth entries are less and less. We're just free and easy. Sell what we like, live where we want to live. I give them all a fake and a stare as they walk down the Fresno, and spin a few words into a verse for them.
Ah, would I be right in assuming all three of you make your living by selling wares on the street?
Everyone calls me gossip. I sell daunty little tidbits to passers-by, you know. Daunty little tidbits? Got an absolute smash to sell you, sir. Right up your gill it is. 6 is the price and not a penny less. Wait, you're actually trying to sell it to me now? Oh, come on, sir. Don't tell me you're not interested. Right, man. Give him the money and see what it is.
Pay the man, counsel.
Alright. 6 pence. Oh my god. How did that happen? How did that happen? You won't regret it, sir. Now you got your listening ears on. That's between us. A young couple on Slate Street, the Deathhead twins. Damn, Westerford. I hope that your lip regains its former shape soon. Is that it? No, that's not it. It's gossip, innit? It wants to spread. But that bit's up to you and your mouth, of course. I've got more, you know. Want another juicy one? 6 pence a piece it is, if you're curious. I am curious yet about what's going on just under that fat bottom lip of yours. Namely that unusual bruise or whatever it is that's poking out from under your collar. What about the next witness then? What name do you go by and what do you sell? Me? I'm Venus. That's what everybody calls me. Funny, isn't it? I sell these lovely little fireworks. 6 pence a pop. The old local school kids. 6 pence a pop. What do you say? You weren't exaggerating with little. Do they actually sell? Oh yeah. Second years can't get enough of me Venus firecrackers. Especially when I tell them that if they get 100, they can blow up the school.
Not the most savory of ideas, young lady.
What do you say then, eh? 1 pop with 6 pence for a pop? Wait, what? You want me to buy one? Tell you what, I'll let you in on a secret. You get 100 of them, you could blow up the whole courtroom. Try the woman. Give her the money and see if she's right.
Pay the woman.
Oh, this is so funny. Alright, I'll buy one. Lovely stuff. Right then, this is something a bit extra just for you. The Venus special, only 600 pence. 600? 100 of my regular fireworks. Nothing little about that, is there? And there'd be nothing little about the punishment if I blew up the Old Bailey either. I would like the court to reimburse us for this blatant peer pressure. You're right. Oh, I already see where this is going. And the last witness. What name do you go by and what do you sell? I'm the thinker, me. Think all sorts of thoughts. I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. I think. Because I stand there on the street, watching the world go on about me. They call me the observator, the observator, the observator. Get out of it, old man. Everyone calls you a sandwich and you know it. So you don't actually sell anything. A problem I shared is a problem I have, as they say. I give advice, I do, and I think of what it means. I think about it. No, tell anything, and no, come to think of it. That sign looks like it says hot, actual head, and I'm not okay with that. That's what I thought it said at first. I know that's not correct. Pity, no more purchases today. Please.
Well, we have quite a cast here, it seems.
They conduct their business on Fresno Street from morning until night. my lord. And always in the same place, directly adjacent to the crime scene.
I see. Unless they heard the gunshot, I suppose.
Not only that, but they very bravely ran inside to see what was going on and witnessed the crime. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want it. Not from Beppo. I was like, well, I'll be Beckett, I thought, just between us. Venus de Milo, what am I to do? What a terrible thing I saw. Venus de Milo, what am I to do? What a terrible thing I saw. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, what I think is, all of what we see is a light and a shadow playing with our eyes. Is any of it real?
Very well. Court will hear the formal testimony of these 3 witnesses now.
I feel so bad for Beppo, but not like that bad, because he kind of brought it upon himself. But like, I still feel pretty bad for Beppo. Oh good, we're gonna go through that.
You will describe in detail what you witnessed and heard at the time of the incident.
The witness's account. We saw the whole thing from start to finish, we did. Everything from the moment they went in the building. It was less than a minute after the Reaper got inside that we all had a big bang. Seems that to me that the quick to talk is the quick to walk. Gossip couldn't wait to go and see what had happened. I ran into the room and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the dead body. I was scared off to death, mate, so I ran off to find a copper. If these witnesses were there for the whole day and saw everything, who did they see going inside the building? Only the victim, Inspector Gregson, and the accused, Barack Van Zieks. I've seen pictures of that Reaper in the paper. I know what he looked like. And just between us, folks love stories like this. I've made myself a tidy sum already. Wait, okay, here we go. But wait, the room was just one of several flats in the building. Someone from another flat could have done it. All those flats on Fresno Street are unoccupied. Of course they are. They're small, damn, dirty, and expensive to boot. The room in which the inspector was found is the only property in the building that's currently leased. And we know the leaseholder's name, don't we? It's Hugh Boone.
The testimony the court has decided appeared to leave little room for doubt. It's becoming increasingly difficult to see how anyone other than the defendant could have committed the crime.
No. Thank you for your candor, my lord.
Counsel for the defense, you may proceed to cross-examine the witness.
Yes, my lord. In a closed court like this without a jury, the judge is the only person whose opinions matters. I have to break down this testimony, somehow. Alright, here we go.
Hold it!
When you say they, who do you mean exactly? Inspector Gregson and the defendant, Lord Van Zieks? I suppose so. The likes of us don't know the names of the high and mighty. But I'll tell you one thing. It was the old Reaper who went in last, that's for sure and certain. Be just behind Inspector Gregson? Did they arrive at the same time as each other? No, not at all. The first fellow must have gone inside a good 15 minutes before we heard that gunshot. The victim arrived 15 minutes before? Are you sure about that? Am I sure? Does it seem likely that I've forgotten a fellow with bright hair, red hair like that? Does it? Oh my god. Yeah, and really well read, weren't it? Redder than my flaming fireworks even. That fiery red mops is still burnt on the inside of my eyelids, that's all. Wait a minute, you saying the man was a redhead? Weren't you listening, chump? Aye, he was a redhead, and he had a big trunk with him as well. Inspector Gregson's hair isn't red, not by any stretch of the imagination. Seems likely that the person you saw wasn't in fact Inspector Gregson at all, but some other third party. No, I hate to break it to you, but the witnesses are correct. What? Just have a look at this photograph of the victim taken at the scene. Yes, that's Inspector Gregson, alright. Oh, honey. And a red hair piece. Ah. Of course, we saw one on the floor and investigated the scene, didn't we? I still refuse to believe Inspector Gregson wore a hairpiece, though. Then why on earth would he have been wearing something like that?
Color does seem to suit the man, one might say. The photograph will be submitted as evidence, please, Counsel.
And what became of the trunk that the red-headed victim was supposedly carrying? I was informed that no trunk was found at the scene. So it just disappeared. What, do you expect us to have been watching the building every second, do you? We definitely saw him going in the top going in there. No question about that.
Hold it!
By which presumably you mean the gunshot. I like this one. She seems fun. I said these little things, don't I? How would I know what a gunshot sounds like? But I've always thought it probably sounds a bit like this, doesn't it? And you say that you heard the noise almost as soon as you saw the defendant enter the building? That's right, it was almost straight away. Bang! It went just like that.
It's the Reaper.
It's the Reaper, isn't it? It's what the French call a fait accompli. When the Reaper's around, people are going in the ground. I mean, that's what he does, isn't it? I think we get the message. The Reaper couldn't allow the inspector to live after he discovered his secret hideout. There can be no clearer motive for the crime. Let me look at some of the stuff we've gotten since it started. Like, starting with the autopsy. There are details of a whole raft of cases dating back years on here, aren't there? The paper from 10 years ago is browning with age, look. Out of interest, the most recent thing appears to be this newspaper cutting here. Oh, it's the same Red-Headed League advertisement that Mr. Sholmes had picked up. And do you remember it? There was a red hairpiece at the scene too. Was Inspector Gregson an exponent of the Red-Headed League then? Oh, what's this? Mr. Naruhodo, look! Oh yes, it's a smudge of some kind. In fact, looks just like a handprint. Handprint identification, please. Handprint identification, please. And the color. That's blood, isn't it? Oh dear, how disturbing. I don't think there's anything going on with this thing. But no. My poor fellow.
Yes, it's certainly an eminently credible motive.
Great. And at that point, you ran inside. Is that correct?
Hold it!
So, when Gossip ran to see what happened, did you go too? Well, me, I'm a bit hampered, see. All the signs are that I can't move very well. You were way behind, presumably, with that sandwich board around your neck and that big sign in your hand. What a great burden you bear. Pardon me for asking, Mr. Sandwich, but is it possible that you and I have met before? I'm not anybody, I'm me. The signs are what make me who I am now. A sign, therefore I am. So you weren't employed as an omnibus driver just under a year ago then? I might be mistaken, but I believe his trembling has intensified, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, I agree. He's certainly been through a lot. And down the King of Henry Street and the Black Widower's arms are just there. Oh dear, you've made him hide behind his sign. Life is full of surprises. I'm glad we acknowledged that.
Hold it!
So then you were the first person to arrive on the scene, is that right?
That I was. Kicked the door open like a professional, I did. And yelled out, "What's going off here?"
Lord Van Zeeks claims all he heard was a man scream, though. Was it dark inside the room?
No, not dark at all. There were candles burning on the wall.
Really?
And there was a fella collapsed on the floor. Just between us. It's the first thing I noticed when I got inside.
Ah, I see. Even though Lord Van Zeeks claims to not have seen any such lights on the wall.
The next thing I noticed was someone standing right beside the body.
The accused, Barack Van Zeeks.
That's right, the pale-faced Reaper himself. I was a little shocked, I won't deny it, but I'm no lily-livered coward. I still might ground to give the Reaper a cold hard stare myself.
Excuse me. Do you have something to add, Mr. Sandwich? Oh man, Mr. Sandwich, Prosecutor Sandwich. There's really nothing to me. Nothing to me. Empty in the head I am, just the two slices with no middle. So I don't know what you could want with the meat. I just think that maybe you just remembered something? Having heard Mr. Gossip's last statement, I mean. What I think is we're all really nothings, really. We try to dress up ourselves up as something else, but at the end of the day, we all are just the street sellers.
That's enough out of you, Sandwich. Keep your trap shut now. Unless you wanted to make you into a real sandwich.
I feel, you know, I can't, Beppo's so old, I just feel bad seeing like an older man so destitute. Shivering, trembling. I feel really bad for this guy. When he saw the Reaper, he fell clean over on his backside. That's it.
Oh, you rotten beggar, I told you to keep that a secret. He screamed, he did.
He screamed, he did. I screamed and I scrambled off on all fours. That's all I wanted to say. Mr. Gossip, is that true?
The floor was dead slippery, that's why. They planted my hand in a filthy pool of blood, didn't I? Yuck.
What? A pool of blood?
Well, listen here, even when I was sprawled on the floor, I still kept giving that Reaper a cold hard stare, and don't you forget it.
Let's just go back a little. Did you say you got blood on your hand?
I did, haven't to the best of us at times.
He looks like the other Gossip thing from Paper Mario 64. He looks like Talai Lip, with the way that lip hangs down.
I was scared, so I flipped over. We can keep it just between us, can't we?
No, Mr. Gossip. I'm going to have to ask you to add that information to your formal testimony.
Oh, if I must.
The witness will amend his testimony to include the aforementioned details at once.
Clean, clean, clean.
You quickly wiped it off on the floor.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Hold it!
You wiped your hand on the floor? Well,
Who wants blood on his hand, eh? Horrible stuff, and they thought they might have thought I'd done it. No time.
you didn't think that might be a problem?
Does it really matter if I left a few grubby handprints on the floor? They'll get cleaned up in the end anyway. Don't make up such a fuss. That's a message from all of us.
Is something wrong,
Is something wrong, Counsel?
No, my lord. I didn't remember anything in the report about a bloody handprint on the floor, that's all.
Don't come in with me with all that. You can't intimidate me. I know what I did. I wiped it off on the floor. The blood.
I wonder, could that be what happened? Mr. Naruto, I don't have all the answers yet, but I think they might have just uncovered a vital clue. Who does she look like besides Red Riding Hood? Her face reminds me of someone else, and I'm not sure who it is. The way they drew her eyes feels distinctly not like this game. Who's Kira? The one blonde one out, maybe. You know what? I'll press this. What the hell?
Hold it!
So you didn't run into the room with your friends? I'm not that sort of girl. Oh, girl. I'm a timid little thing, mate. I was too scared to go in. I haven't played Layton versus Ace Attorney, so that can't be it. Oh, right, I see. Oh, Lippy and the witch ran in there, and I heard a sort of old lady scream.
Well, that wasn't me, I swear. If I were a gentleman, I'd stake my honor on it.
I wondered what on earth was going on. Which is when you went to find a policeman. And I ran into a copper as soon as I turned. I ran into a copper as soon as I turned the corner. Ran into a copper as soon as I turned the corner. So I brought him straight back to the place. Didn't I do well, eh?
Just between us, that copper's eye nearly popped out of his head when he saw the Reaper.
I've never felt more uncomfortable in all my life. What did the judge say?
And the defendant was arrested on the spot, I believe.
Considering the catalog of killings the Reaper had carried out, it was a particularly inauspicious end. If I can't find any... Yeah. The truth is, though, their combined testimony is fairly damning. Fortunately, they don't seem... Still, Lord Vic, yeah, still. He is innocent. No one that hot would do anything that bad. Yes, I'm a simp. No, I don't care.
Objection!
So you wiped off the blood from your hand on the floor of the room. Oh, wiped off the blood from your hand on the floor of the room. Are you quite sure about that?
Well, what else do you expect me to have done, huh? Does it really matter?
The police found no such handprint on the floor during their investigations. What exactly is the defense asserting? If you listen, you'll find out. Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly, there was no bloody handprint found on the floor. Because
There's something about you, girl, that just makes my head water. There ain't nothing better on this world.
Sorry. What are you trying to say? There was a handprint in blood left very clearly at the scene. On the back of this notice board.
Yes, indeed, it's disputably a handprint and distinctive color of blood.
Aye, you're dead right. That's my right hand. I know it anywhere. I see it all the time. It's my best friend and my greatest lover.
Objection!
The witness very definitely testified that he wiped his hand on the floor. Any handprints on the back of the board are irrelevant.
Objection!
Not if the board itself had fallen over onto the floor. In that case, it's quite possible for the witness's handprint to have ended up there. Just look at the floor plan of the room. The notice board was in the opposite corner of the room to the victim, and in an upright position. Even if it had somehow been toppled and was lying on the floor at the time, it would have been a considerable distance from the body.
I fell over when I came across the body, so I was basically right next to the corpse, not on the other side of the room.
In other words, the defense's assertion is contradictory. Yes, it is. There's a very definite contradiction here, for which there must be a reason.
I take it you formulated a proper hypothesis, counsel, regarding this apparent discrepancy between the witness's account and the handprint found at the scene.
I have, my lord. It's a wheeled board. It could have easily moved, I think. I think it's a wheeled board, isn't it? No, it's not, actually. Okay, maybe the board did not move. Okay, so this is awkward. Like, this is not the question I was expecting. There must be some false testimony going on, because the board I don't think moved. The witness claims to have wiped his bloody hand on the floor, yet no sign of that remains at the scene. Simplest explanation is that the witness is lying. Just because it's the simplest explanation doesn't make it the correct one. Ryunosuke Naru. Suppose positing perjury simply because it suits you. You bring shame on your Japanese heritage. Okay, fine.
I'd ask you not to oversimplify matters again. Okay.
I don't remember fostering that kind of simplistic thinking in you. That's embarrassing. Since when were you my father? Anyway, I was always taught to consider all possibilities. Then show me. There should be a bloody... okay. I don't think there would have been another handprint. Because that's his handprint. He said it as well. The board must have moved? The real contradiction here is the handprint itself, not where it was found. As the court can see, it's upside down.
Good gracious, so it is. Witness has put his hand against the board, the finger should be pointing upwards.
What? What does that tell us? It tells one simple fact. When this handprint was made, the board must have been lying on the floor as I previously suggested, which means after the incident, it must have moved. What?
Objection!
You're claiming that somebody moved the notice board after the shooting? Then tell the court who. I don't know that yet, but the point is, when you consider all the testimony we've heard so far, we can now be very clear on one point.
And that would be?
The position of the notice board at the time of the incident, my lord.
Oh, counsel, I must ask you to clarify your assertion for the court.
That's why he didn't see it.
Take that!
This.
Oh. Immediately adjacent to the doorway. I thought I got it wrong.
If the court would be coming back to the testimony given by the defendant earlier, he said that when he entered the room it was dark and he couldn't see the body. My leg! If the notice board had been here, the body would have been completely hidden from view, and the light from the candles would have been blocked, making the room appear darker.
Objection!
But the accused also claims that the body simply appeared before him. That's true, or in his precise words. Just as I picked the firearm up to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. I don't know about calling it a scream, but he was talking about me, and make no mistake, because it was me that kicked the door open. If you look again at the floor plan. Oh, well, I will. Oh my god, I can't believe it gave that to me. Consider what would happen if the door to the room was thrown open with force. I cannot. I put it right next to the body. I didn't put it right next to that. Oh, Jesus. That can't. The door struck the notice board, knocking it over and making the victim's body visible.
Good gracious.
My client has told nothing but the truth. He has simply described what he saw.
Ah. Order. Counsel, how has this not come to light before now?
After the incident, somebody must have righted the board and moved it into the position where the police, myself, and my colleagues saw it when investigating the room.
Witness, what have you to say for yourself?
What? Me, my lord. You and your fellows were there at the scene before anybody else. It goes without saying that you must know something about the position of the notice board.
Witnesses in the stand will testify again. You will each explain exactly what you did upon arriving at the scene of the crime.
Stop looking over your glasses with me. I get the message. Man, you know what was really unceremonious? The way we just kind of never saw those, like, 3 witnesses from the last case again on day 1. Like the balloon man and the scary child. And was there another one? I don't remember. I don't know anything about that there notice board. I just wiped my hand on it, that's all. Oh, don't look at me. I haven't got a clue about it. I was doing business with them second years at the time. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just... But that's the bad end of me. Just a sign at the crossroads of a life. It was that Reaper, I bet. He got a face that screams bored. What? I can't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective was still died when we heard the gunshot.
So none of you can elaborate further?
Shaken by the crime they witnessed, and with only the light of a few candles and an oil... No, shaken by the crime they witnessed, and with only the light of a few candles and oil lamp by which to see. We can't expect these witnesses to be able to give a more precise account of what happened.
That's right, yeah. You don't pay to expect too much. It's a man's endless quest for a knowledge that's destroying the world. That's what I think.
Do you? Really? In any case, this testimony shows, even if the notice board was moved by somebody following the incident, it makes no difference. When the gunshot rang out, the accused was the only person at the scene. In short, the only person who could have possibly committed this crime is Barack Van Zieks. None of this wrangling over the board changes that simple fact.
Quite so, quite so.
What do you mean, quite so? Shut up!
Does the defense still wish to cross-examine the witnesses despite the circumstance?
Most certainly, my lord.
Very well, then you may proceed, counsel.
Yeah, thank God I didn't put up a yes or no question prompt. I would have been mad.
Hold it!
So you admit that it was the board you wiped your bloody hand on?
Admit it? What to admit? It's there plain as day for all to see a smashing print in my right hand.
Perhaps you wanted to hide that handprint? So you righted the notice board and pushed it into a corner, did you?
No, imagine the weight of that weight lump. Do I look like a powerful and well-nurtured man?
Well, did you see anyone else moving the board?
I got nerves of steel, I can tell you, but even I had my limit. There was a body on the floor in front of me, and the Grim Reaper himself standing over it. And there was precious little inside, and light inside either. My bottom lip was all a quiver.
In other words, this witness is unable to give definite testimony on that point.
Yes, so it would seem.
Yeah. Well, don't.
Hold it!
When you say you were doing business with them, do you mean you were selling them fireworks?
Yeah, what else? There's a priory school just around the corner, see? This cheeky little so-and-sos have got a plan to blow up the school to Kingdom Come. I've been telling on them, letting the teachers know what they're up to.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, wouldn't want anyone to get hurt, so I let the school know that the kids are playing with dodgy toys. And praise the Lord, the teachers take all the fireworks off them. And then praise the Lord again, the kids all come back to me to buy more. Everyone's happy, see? And that's honestly, I respect that.
It's really funny and it's not a great business model, but it's certainly an effective one in the circumstance. What a racket.
Of course, and sometimes the teachers give me a little bonus to thank me for letting them know. We're busy on life-saving explosives.
Venus is a guileful goddess indeed.
Well,
Telling barefaced lies is kind of my thing, really. I'm ever so good at it.
what, Beppo? What now, Beppo?
Excuse me!
Something wrong, Mr. Sandwich?
If I said it was, could we just leave it at that? Would that be the end of it?
No. Did Miss Venus's statement just now bring something to mind, perhaps?
Philosophical thoughts. Deep philosophical thoughts. The letter say there was a great liar, and that a great liar said without a batting an eye. Telling a bare-faced lies is kind of my thing. I'm ever so good at it. Would those words of hers be a liar too, or the truth? In which case, she's not a liar. Oh, it's a hellish paradox of that one, don't you think?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, but it seems to me that you're suggesting Miss Venus has been lying, are you?
What do you want about him? I'm trying to cause trouble, are you? People like that. And I'll wrap your whole body in firecrackers to set them off. That'll give you something to tremble about.
You have a startlingly disturbing mind behind that sweet and innocent face, young lady.
So Miss Venus has lied in her testimony. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Sandwich?
Well, if it means I'll be burning in hellfire for the rest of my days, so be it. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Can you elaborate, please, sir?
Old blabbermouth here headed for the room where the gun shot seemed to come from. But there was somebody else who crept up the stairs behind him too. That's right, that rotten liar over there.
Do you mean to say that you did in fact betake yourself to the scene of the crime after all?
I tell ya. I said that I was good at telling barefaced lies, didn't I?
Yes, you mentioned it. Well, that revelation rocked the whole courtroom, didn't it? Who knew firecrackers pack such a punch?
So you didn't deviate to the scene of the crime, did you, young lady? Good grief.
Well, now you come to mention it, I suppose perhaps. I clearly remember climbing the stairs to the room, yeah.
Either you clearly remember it or you don't.
Well, I shall consider a fitting punishment for this perjurious act later. For the time being, you will immediately amend your testimony to reflect the truth.
Oh yes, my lord, of course.
Let me see. So, like, what was Van Zeke saying before he heard a gunshot? What if it was just a firecracker?
Hold it!
You make a habit of lying. Do you, Miss Venus?
Well, I suppose so. I don't really know, to be fair. If you want my little advice, I take everything I say with a big pinch of salt.
Alright, but did you in fact go to the room where the victim was killed on the day? You did in fact go to the room where the victim was killed on the day in question, didn't you?
Oh, please, as if I would. I can't think of anything more terrifying.
It's me, that's a rebel. The truth, please.
Well, alright, just a bit then. I mean, girl my age is curious about stuff, you know?
Did you touch anything at the scene?
Oh, please, as if I would. I mean, there was a dead body on the floor.
The truth, please.
Alright, just a bit then. I had to look to see if there's anything I could sell. So I did give the plates a once over, but it was nothing to write home about.
Right, now I hesitate to ask, but you didn't move the notice board by any chance, did you?
Oh, please, as if I would touch anything like that. Just a few bits of loose change is all I had.
The truth, please.
Alright then, I thought there might be something worth having underneath it, so I blasted the flippin' thing. Alright, flip to the box then.
You're telling us that you did move that board?
I think that did slip out, didn't it?
Well, you daft barn pie. I don't believe it. The girl doesn't a thing. So, did you find anything then? Something that you might have taken, perhaps, to sell?
Oh, please. I should be so lucky. In my imagination.
The truth, now!
I might have found this old... I might have found this old pocket watch under the notice board, I suppose. I really don't like this can't be worth much, really. Yes.
Ah! So it was you, was it? You're the one who took it. Gina?
Young lady, might I remind you where you are?
That watch there. I was a present to Inspector Gregson from the yard for a big case he solved 10 years ago. Professor case, no doubt. The boss used to wind it up every evening without fail, when he was waiting for his crop to come at the pub. I see. I swiped it off him once and blimey was he upset. He gave me a right earful. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did. Probably not the best thing to go diving for then.
It's not all that, though. Look at the jar. I took the change this night. That night asked how much it's worth, but the old dealer wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't give me a penny for it. Said it wasn't working. Knocked about and worthless, he called it.
Ah! I knew I should have lifted it. This witness stand is so full. That watch must be submitted as evidence at once.
Oh, please, just so long as you promise to give it back when we're done.
Not a chance. Swipe it from me if you ever try to get your groping its on it again. That's enough. And the bailiff through. And the watch to the bailiff forthwith. Now, children, watch your manners.
Good lord. The glass appears to be broken.
More than likely, it shattered when the inspector was shot.
It doesn't tick anymore either. Which is why Japes didn't want it. What a waste, eh?
Yes, indeed. It appears to have stopped at the hour of 5.
Exactly when the gunshot was heard then. It supports the prosecution's claim, of course.
Well, it would appear that the mystery of the moving notice board has been solved at least.
And as predicted, it had very little bearing on the case. Now then, yeah. But first, let me look at this. Oh! Ah, there's a tiny little keyhole here. Can't you see? Ah, yes, that's probably where the winder used to wind up the mechanism. Looks a little unusual, don't you think? Yes, you need just the right key to wind it, I'd imagine. Why do I feel as though I've seen something? Something that looks good. Okay, so now that I've seen that, I can probably... Just in case. Glass over the face is really badly cracked, looked. What a shame when the inspector clearly looked after it so carefully. I imagine Mr. Sholmes could repair it, don't you? Yes, I should think so. He's very adept at things like this. A useful man to have around, in fact. But kindly remember that he's a great detective, Mr. Naruhodo, not an odd job man. Of course, it's the exact same thing. Mr. Sutham, do you think perhaps this key could be the key to Inspector Gregson's watch? Oh, yes, it could be. Let's try it at once. There's not a... Okay, cool, we're gonna do that now. I knew it. A perfect fit. And look, the inspector's watch has started going again. So it has obviously just not been wound up, that's all. What is it, Mr. Suzato? Well, if the watch isn't actually broken after all, I have a feeling it could have profound implications. She's deep in thought now. Perhaps I better start thinking. Alright, well, I figured that out. That's good. Alright, I'll start here, because I think this is where I left off. But you did go see what happened in the room, didn't you? Fresno Street is in my whole world. It's all I know, and I know all of it. I have to make it my business to know if I want to hold up my sign high. So you did go to see what had happened. It's not the destination that's important. It's how you get there, isn't it? Did you notice the notice board in the room? If you think about it, we're all both the same species, aren't we? Both the different members of the Cyan family. So if I had spotted it, I might have tried to trip it up out of a sense of a rivalry. Someone really needs to tell you that you're Homo sapiens, not Homo Cynians. Does that mean you didn't notice the board? I can only repeat what I said before. I don't know anything of anything. I'm just a bystander. Me, just a sign at the crossroads of life.
In which case, who was responsible for moving the notice board?
But we've been through this. I want to see what she has to say in this new statement, actually. You certainly know how to lie.
Oh, it was nothing really, just a little quirky.
With not so little implications.
Did you know? Everything in the world apart from the truth is a big fat lie. If you believe that, of course.
I'm lost.
So this desecration of the truth is really rather disturbing. I think perhaps we should move on to the next witness.
Hold it!
What exactly do you mean by that?
Oh, come on now, don't tell us he's not noticed. He looks like he hates everything in the world, that fella. The non-notice boards, they're the one thing he likes. You can see it in his eyes.
I can't say I'd ever noticed.
I'll tell you one thing for free, though. I never took my eyes off that man on the floor, or off the Reaper, not for a second.
How did you keep your eyes on both?
Well, I was that scared I couldn't. You never know what a fiend like that might do if you look away, do you?
If you didn't take your eyes off the defendant, you should be able to confirm categorically whether or not he was the one who moved the notice board.
Aye, that I can. The Reaper did nothing of the sort. I can swear to that. I couldn't have missed it if he heaved the thing upright again and dragged it into the corner.
Right, I'm glad we've cleared that up. What happened to the face that screams bored? I feel your pain, Kazuma.
Hold it!
It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon that you all heard that loud bang, wasn't it? Maybe the notice board fell over, or maybe it didn't. Maybe I fell over, or maybe I didn't. But the Reaper's fate is sealed either way because of the gunshot we all heard. So your fate is sealed too. That's right. That's right. The defense is fated to lose, and the prosecution to win. In other words, it all hinges on a single gunshot, so I could just find some problem with that part of their story. Maybe possible to change all our fates. Of course, and none of that changes the fact that I heard what I heard, does it? Not much to go on. As you pointed out, Mr. Naruhodo, there's no question that the notice board was moved, so somebody must have done it. But it did happen after the event, so maybe Kazuma's right and it's not relevant to the case. But it seems to have been deliberately positioned so as to hide the body from view. I feel sure that there's some deeper significance to all this. Yep. Yeah, follow my instincts. Well, the fact that she went into the room means that they could have realistically heard the firework.
Objection!
Oh no, it's not it, okay. Yes, undeniable.
You say it's undeniable, counsel. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I find it weird that I wasn't able to examine anything on the Venus firecracker thing, so let me just a fuse? No, this must be the fuse right here. I knew there was something. There had to have been. Have you had an idea, Mr. Naruhodo? You're staring at the end of the string of fireworks. Sorry, it's just that it's the Venus special. I was wondering what 600 pence worth of fireworks would sound like. Probably find out, right? But she said it could blow up the courtroom. Bang. All right, that was a fairly sizable bang. My ears are still ringing, Mr. Naruhodo. It sounded almost exactly like. Okay.
Objection!
No, that's still not it. Alright, damn it. Well, let's figure this out. Oh wait, is it? Maybe it's the pocket watch. Maybe I was supposed to figure that out. I don't know. I feel like this has to do something. Maybe.
Objection!
Okay, I don't see why I couldn't. Okay, sure. I'm afraid that's not necessarily the case. Oh. Oh. At the scene, we found this key to the winder of the inspector's pocket watch. A key? And having wound the pocket watch, we discovered that it in fact still works. You see, the watch didn't stop because it was broken at all. And that fact completely undermines one of the most fundamental premises on which this entire case has been built. What?
Order. But counsel, the watch was stopped at almost exactly 5 o'clock.
Yeah, which is just when we had that gunshot.
It is exactly the hour.
The time that was showing on the watch tells it it's nothing other than when it was wound down. It's merely a coincidence that it happened to be at 5 o'clock.
Objection!
Even if that's true, the 3 witnesses here all heard the gunshot at 5 o'clock. So that's obviously when this crime was committed.
Objection.
No, that doesn't hold. Why not? Recall what Inspector Lestrade said only moments ago. The boss used to wind it up every evening without fail when he was waiting for his girl to come to the pub. But he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years, polished it, winded it. It meant the world to him, that watch did. Yep. The victim was in the habit of winding his watch once a day, in the evening. We can reasonably assume, therefore, that he wound the timepiece on the evening before he died as well.
Yes, that would be entirely reasonable.
But if that's the case, you wouldn't expect the watch to have completely wound down by 5 o'clock the following day.
Oh, hi.
Well, how do you explain it then? In summary, the evening before the day of the incident, when the gunshot rang out in that room, the inspector was already unable to wind his watch. You can't mean. What would stop a man from winding his watch if he's been in the habit of winding it every single evening for 10 years? The obvious answer is that he was already dead. I love this song.
Order, order, counsel, that is the most extraordinary claim.
Objection.
Extraordinary isn't the word, it's absurd. You claim he was already dead the night before? Do you really think that Scotland Yard's coroner would have overlooked something like that? Well, isn't Scotland Yard kind of without a coroner right now? On that subject, there is something rather surprising. There's actually an omission in the coroner's report. The time of death is not noted. That's right.
Wait a minute, you're forgetting that my legs from under me when I kicked the door in.
What do you mean?
Like I said, I planted my hand in that dirty great puddle of blood.
Yes, so the victim's blood hadn't dried. It was fresh.
He catches on fast, doesn't he?
Objection.
But that blood could be explained in any number of ways. It could have been put there afterwards.
Objection.
Does my learned... Oh, no way. Don't say that to me, bitch. Does my learned friend think that fresh blood is available on every street? Well, it needn't necessarily have been human blood, of course. We've been told previously that Scotland Yard has no way to identify blood as human.
The problem is currently being researched. At present, you are correct. It is beyond our abilities.
So then a chicken's blood could have been used, for example. It's certainly a possibility that wasn't the inspector's blood at all.
Objection.
But the gunshot was heard at 5 o'clock that afternoon. That's beyond question. Is it though? What? Given that the time of death of the victim has already been called into question, isn't it beyond the realms of possibility that what these witnesses heard wasn't a gunshot at all?
Oh, please, what are you trying to say?
You other know what we heard, and was a loud bang that came from that there room.
You got a whip from the from the omnibus. Now you will listen to me. A street seller's ears are his livelihood. I don't doubt your ears, sir. But all you can state with certainty is that you heard a noise. Eh?
Eh?
Explain yourself then, counsel.
A noise that sounds like a gunshot could have been made with a Venus firecracker.
Take that.
Something like this. The culprit could have set off one of these to fake a gunshot.
Good gracious, the very fireworks that are sold by the witness.
Oh, hold on a minute. Are you saying I did it? My precious little firecracker, my pretty little firecrackers only make a little pop anyway, see?
Not 100 of them together, the Venus special that you sell for 600 pennies sounds like this. As the court can now attest, it sounds very much like a gunshot, in fact. You're trying to suggest that somebody set off one of those fireworks at the scene? I'm suggesting somebody knew the defendant was in the room at 5 that day, and sought to implicate him by creating a sound like a gunshot for those peddlers on Fresno Street to hear. But even the accused himself has testified that he saw no one else in the room at the time. Whether it was a gun or a firecracker, the only person present to cause that bang was Barack Van Zeeks.
One whiff of a match and my firecrackers will pop, see? That's why people like them.
I fear for your fingers, young lady.
Recently, during my time here in Britain, I've learned of a very useful invention indeed. Something called a, time bomb.
Heavens, a bomb?
Yes, a device that allows you to blow up whatever you like, whenever you like. Mr. Naruhodo, I worry that your unfortunate phrasing there may lead to yet another international incident. Ah, no, wait, it's the whenever you like part that's important. Timed device? Yes, exactly, a timed device. Something of that nature could have been planted at the scene. A device that was able to produce the sound of a gunshot long after the culprit had left.
Your extravagant claim will have to be substantiated with evidence, Counsel. What proof do you have at the time?
Huh? Why would I have proof of that? Is it the candle? Oh, it must be the candle, actually, I think.
Take that!
As the court has already discussed, the tip of one of the candles in this candelabrum has been blown off.
Indeed, because it was struck by the bullet which presumably passed to the victim.
I don't think that's possible, my lord. Not possible. Why? Because of the scorching. Finally, this came up. There are gunpowder scorch marks clearly visible on the broken candle.
There are, goodness yes, but is it not the case that there was also scorching on the victim around the bullet entry wound?
That's right, there was. But as we heard earlier, scorching like that only occurs when the target is very close range, a matter of centimeters from the gun.
Ah,
Which means that the scorching on the candle can't possibly be the result of a gunshot. You're suggesting it came from the fireworks?
How can that be, eh?
The fact that there's such visible scorching on the candle suggests that the fireworks must have been right next to it when they exploded. Or to put it another way, the candle and the firecrackers were joined together. The culprit somehow attached the firecrackers at a point partway down the candle. After the killer had left the scene, the candle slowly burnt down along with the other two, until eventually it ignited the fuse of the firecrackers, generating a loud and that is how these three witnesses came to believe they heard a gunshot at 5 o'clock.
well, what a plot. This implies that the victim could have died earlier than we've been led to believe, the previous day even.
Now, just hold your horses. All us lot here saw the victim go into the building, remember?
I couldn't forget that flame-colored hair, even if I wanted to. The person you saw entering the building wasn't the victim at all. Consider this. Obviously, anybody can wear a wig, so the person that these witnesses saw entering the building 15 minutes before the incident occurred could easily have been someone else entirely wearing that red hairpiece.
Someone else? Do you mean to say?
It was the same person who contrived the firecracker trick. In other words, Inspector Gregson's killer. Oh, very impressive, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Kazuma? I'm really quite amazed you've come this far. But after all, wasn't I the one who told you that you had all the makings of a great defense lawyer? I also noted the lack of a time of death in this report, a stark omission. As far as I'm concerned, this whole country's justice system leaves a lot to be desired.
Order, prosecutor, sir. What on earth do you mean by that statement?
I hear that many of the leading members of British judiciary are present to observe this trial today. We cannot allow even the slightest doubt to be overlooked. The defense's assertion about the time of death based on the victim's stopwatch is just conjecture, but while the possibility that it exists in my learned friend may be correct, we have a duty to explore it.
Well, certainly, I would agree with you.
And what immediately comes to mind, of course, is what was Inspector Gregson doing, and where did he go on the day before the incident? Do you know? The inspector always carried out his 5 o'clock... Where did I get 5 o'clock from? The inspector always carried out his investigative work alone. His movements were treated as confidential within Scotland Yard.
Even within the yard?
However, considering the evidence we've been presented with so far, I'd say it's fairly apparent what case the man was pursuing. Wouldn't you, my learned friend? I do have a feeling about what case he might have been investigating. Yes, I agree, surely. My lord, the defense believes it can explain to the court the case that was being investigated by Inspector Gregson at the time of his death.
Very well, counsel. Present your argument to the court. Oh boy, this ought to be good.
Probably the Red-Headed League, I
Take
think.
that!
I believe this red hairpiece points to the answer. We might assume that it was a part of disguise used to carry out an undercover investigation.
Surely not. Such a brightly colored hairpiece would only serve to make the inspector more noticeable.
Yes, that's quite true. It would definitely have made him stand out in the crowd, except, that is, in a crowd of gentlemen from the Red-Headed League.
The Red-Headed League?
So, you'd already worked it out.
What on earth is all this about? Is there such an extraordinary league of gentlemen?
The Red-Headed League is currently under investigation for a grand deception.
A deception of what nature, Council?
They've been targeting red-headed men all across all of London and tricking them out of small sums of money. Two men were arrested for the misdemeanor only yesterday, in fact. My lord, the defense calls for those two men to be summoned at once.
Two redheads?
Inspector Gregson clearly infiltrated the Red-Headed League using this hairpiece. I think extraordinary, not in the sense of, like, incredible, but, like, out of the... Well, yes, incredible, because incredible means unbelievable, but yes, like, out of the ordinary gentleman probably is what they meant in this case. So it's very likely that he had direct contact with these criminals. And it's quite possible that such contact led to more serious events.
I concur that we cannot, in good conscience, leave this new avenue unexplored.
Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, it's another possible line of inquiry for us, at least.
The prosecution will make immediate arrangements for the charge man to appear. Bring these two Red-Headed League conspirators before me, Prosecutor Sergi.
At once, my lord.
Very good, we will have a 30-minute recess. Court is adjourned.
Alright, you know the deal. I think we're gonna take another quick intermission. My voice is, struggling a little bit, so I want to give it some rest and take another, or throat drop lozenge thing. So, gonna save. And I will pick up back in about 10 minutes. Sound good, guys? Alright, go get a drink, go eat a snack, go to the bathroom, whatever it is you need to do, and we'll be back at 12:13 about, probably more like 12:14 Eastern Standard Time.